Hezbollah's leader blamed Israel for Tuesday and Wednesday's attacks on civilians and confirmed that many of the detonations particularly affected medical staff.
By
this attack, the Israeli enemy have crossed all the red lines, turning a blind eye to everything, ethical, legal or human limits. Some of the devices detonated in hospitals simply because the pages are carried by medical staff. Pharmacies, shops, private vehicles, public roads, where thousands of civilians, including women and children, are present. They are willing to target Hezbollah fighters, yet they attacked the civilian population.
Ramzi Kaiss is a Lebanon researcher with Human Rights Watch. You're joining us from Geneva. Ramzi, thanks for your time today. We're trying to look at all aspects of this story. One of the aspects is the one that actually Hassan Nasrallah underlined, which was that these high-profile attacks by Israel were broadly directed at members of Hezbollah, but I mean, these are devices that exploded in the hands of civilians or in areas where there were civilians. We know that children were killed. So it did, by no means did it only target members of Hezbollah. And I wanted to talk to you, first of all, about the legality of that, your view.
Thanks for having me. In terms of legality, the laws of war are clear and they prohibit the use of booby traps. This includes objects that civilians are likely to be attracted to or that may appear harmless or associated with normal civilian use, but that are, could be used as explosives. And what happened in Lebanon on Tuesday is that thousands of pagers exploded simultaneously across the country. The method of attack or the use of an explosive device in this manner, where the exact location of that explosive device, those pagers, could not be reliably known at the time when they were detonated. This was a means of attack where, in the manner in which the pagers exploded, it could not be directed at a specific military target. And as a result, when the detonation happened, all at the same time, thousands of pagers exploding at the same time, they struck military targets and civilians alike without distinction. That manner of attack is unlawfully indiscriminate. It's unlawfully indiscriminate because for the very same reasons that we had mentioned, and that is unlawful under the laws of war. This was not a precise targeted attack on specific Hezbollah personnel, but it was one which used booby trap devices that then exploded simultaneously at the same time without distinguishing between military targets and civilians, and therefore is indiscriminate and thus unlawful.
What about when, let's say, just a hypothetical, a member of Hezbollah's armed wing, so a Hezbollah fighter, is attacked and injured in one of these pager walkie-talkie attacks at a time when he is not engaged in combat, right? Because this is something that a guest brought up yesterday. And the guest strongly suggested that that was illegal. If the person is targeted when they are not fighting, then that too is illegal, even if they are a fighter. Your thoughts?
I mean, there are certainly various hypotheticals that we can go into, but I think what we saw in Lebanon happen, especially with the photos and videos that were circulating, is we saw, pagers exploding in supermarkets and grocery stores in the streets with close proximity to civilians, where children had access to the pagers in bedroom, holding them when they exploded, and children were killed, health workers were killed. So in this particular context, in what we saw on Tuesday, where thousands of pagers simultaneously exploded at the same time, that kind of conduct, which does not discriminate between civilians and military targets, or doesn't take precautions to ensure that the target is military, that there are no civilians that will be harmed, is unlawful.
Ramzi Kaiss, researcher with Human Rights Watch, joining us from Geneva this hour. We needed answers to those very specific questions. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.